Hey, this is Kevin from Kevin's BBQ Joints, and I am very excited to bring you my interview with Ben Siegel and Chef Ted Prater from Banger's Sausage House and Beer Garden in Austin, Texas. It's on Rainy Street. We talk all about the location, all about that, but this one is really interesting because we talk about how it all started. And Ben, who didn't have a background in restaurants, but he had a background in commercial real estate, how this started, and then how Chef Ted came on board. And then eventually at the very end, we get to talk to Chef alone and hear more about his background. But it starts off with Chef Ted, and he's got the hog pits behind him, which are made by Backline Fabrication. And a little side note, Tales from the Pits, the podcast, the barbecue podcast, they just interviewed Ryan from Backline Fabrication. So I would definitely check that out after you check this one out. We talk about the theory and concept behind what they're doing, and everything that they do is scratch made. They're curing, they're pickling, they're fermenting. The location is beautiful, and they've got a 5 to 10 year concept to really build this thing out even bigger than it is. There's 200 plus beers on tap. It's an amazing place. They have 20 to 30 sausages, scratch-made sausages on hand at all time. We talk about different sausages that they have made, ones that they do sell. They do whole hog 4 days a week. The hours 7 days a week. They fluctuate, so go to their website to check out that to see what the hours of operation are. But you're going to really enjoy this. I want to let you know that there's some construction on a patio. I think it's a patio that's right near there. So every so often you hear a beeping, which is a truck backing up, and you hear a little bit of loud commotion in the background, but it's a lively thing. At times, Ben is talking and Ted is working in the background. So I would recommend, if you get a chance, go to the YouTube version at youtube.com/Kevin's BBQ Joints. Check out the YouTube version of this because it's really, really cool to see the pits. Ted opens the pits. He's doing work at the time behind Ben at different times. The reactions to each other, priceless. It's really cool. I can't thank them enough for taking the time. You're going to want to go visit Bangers when you go to Austin. You have to visit there. I don't see why you wouldn't. And enjoy this. And as you know, this podcast is sponsored by The Smoke Sheet. The Smoke Sheet is a barbecue newsletter. It comes into your email box every Wednesday without fail. It's available at bbqnewsletter.com. bbqnewsletter.com. It was started by two of my friends, Ryan Cooper, who is at BBQ Tourist, and Sean Ludwig, who is at NYC BBQ, who have been at the barbecue game for a long time, and the barbecue news game, and they're passionate about barbecue. They're traveling all over. They're just at the American Royal, and so the newest edition of the Smoke Sheet, I'm sure, will be chock full of that. But it's chock full of news, information about where people are working at, where they're moving to. Chefs and pitmasters move all the time, so they're way on top of that. Or if there's a new opening of a restaurant or something opening up, like Adam Perry Lang has something in Yountville, didn't know about that, learned about it in the Smoke Sheet. They have a barbecue recipe of the week. They have links to all the events coming up 1-2 months ahead of time, so you could definitely get on board and get a chance to go to those. They have links to all the barbecue podcasts, all the YouTube stuff, so that way you can stay on top of that information. It's just a way to stay on top of the barbecue world. There's so much going on. It's growing every week. The Smoke Sheet is growing every week, as well as the barbecue world. So it's a perfect marriage. Go to bbqnewsletter.com. That's bbqnewsletter.com. The Smoke Sheet is barbecue news worth consuming. And if you're digging these, please subscribe. I have a podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast version, there's a YouTube version at youtube.com/Kevin's BBQ Joints, which I think I already mentioned, but check that out. Subscribe there. I do 1 or 2 of these a week, if not more. I do barbecue joint tours, sausage facility making places, anything barbecue related. I go to butcher shops. I love this world. Check out the YouTube stuff. I even have exclusive stuff on the podcast side if you're just watching this on YouTube. So that's available at Kevin's BBQ Joints on all the podcast networks. Website, kevinsbbqjoints.com. Links to all my podcasts, all the YouTube stuff, original content, lists of barbecue pop-ups in Texas, creating a weekly list like that. And I also have a weekly list of Los Angeles and the greater Los Angeles area weekly barbecue pop-ups. So check that out on my website. Well, I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy.
When I open it up, we got it filled up with ribs right now.
Nice.
Can you see the ribs?
I can't see the ribs. I could see this. Oh, rad. Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, I've got a little party. So usually I'm not running the smokers on Tuesday, except for day-to-day operations for our business. We cure a lot of bacon in house and smoke it, and then sausages and such. So Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I try to keep up with Banger's day-to-day needs.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I run a whole hog barbecue business.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he also got special events. So usually when people are trying to buy out our restaurant, it falls in on like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
So then that will take priority over my day-to-day restaurant needs if I'm bought out and I smoke from here. And so
you're saying like people rent them out for private parties, right? Private events and stuff?
Yeah, we end up with a lot of private events that come through here over the years. That we've done parties for, Rachel Ray, was out there in South by. We had like Dickies rent us out. We had various large companies that rent us out. And then, with that, they bring all types of music in here. I've seen Ludacris on stage here. I've seen Justin Bieber on stage. I saw Jeff Bridges play on stage for a buyout one time. Jeff Bridges' band. The dude was here hanging out.
That is rad.
We sat in the office. We drank White Russians and talked barbecue, man. It was pretty.
See, that's what I wanted to. That's why I wanted to reach out to you, because I knew that you had a unique life and a unique path, and what you guys are doing there is so unique and so different. And when people are coming to Austin, because I'm in California now, I lived in Texas for a year, but and Bangers wasn't Bangers what it is today when I visited. It was just not that it was just sausage, but it was mainly just sausage.
Yeah, well, so a lot of people have seen us as, it says in our front door, we're Bangers Sausage House and Beer Garden. That's what we're here to do. But from the very beginning, what we had this thing that was called Second Chance Sundays.
Okay.
And Second Chance Sundays, I was smoking an animal with a face every Sunday. Okay. So I'd come in, work Saturday, sell sausage, and then drink beer all night in a beer garden. And they call it our cowboy days, and be lighting fires and cooking pigs, and then we serve it the following day. And then that just got to be real taxing, staying up, working all week. So then we backed off to where we're doing smokeout Saturdays. But during this whole time, we ended up with this event business I was telling you about before, and that's how the smokehouse was actually even designed.
Okay.
We ran this company off cement blocks, and so I built everything on cement blocks. So all these pits that you see behind me, they're all designed from cement blocks.
Really?
So all my dimensions are cement block dimensions of what I grew up cooking on. We just turned them into big boy toys because the city didn't want me doing cement blocks no more.
Oh, yeah. I think I read somewhere that you were doing it and the fire marshal was coming in town.
Oh, man. The fire marshal has come out. Then we became good friends with the fire marshal. We wrote up a fire plan, and they blessed it. And then the city came out one day, and they saw us doing something and just, literally turned around and said, hey, you got to throw everything out. And it's what? And so we had to throw out, man, so much sausage and sauerkraut and whatever else. And, so we had all that kind of going on. So that's how the smokehouse came into action. But with that, we had our event parties. And, we're a sausage house, so we're just offering sausage. So we started doing the barbecue for events. And next thing you know, I was building 4 or 5 cement block smokers and doing parties for 1,000, 2,000 people off cement blocks. And
a la Rodney Scott style?
It's just something I grew up doing. So I've never worked with Rodney Scott. The only thing with Rodney Scott, I met him about 2 years ago when I was actually designing this smokehouse. And I'm going to pick you up for a second, so don't get dizzy. But I literally stole this from Rodney Scott, the telescope stack. Can you see it going up?
Yes, sir.
So that whole thing I stole from Rodney Scott. But these hog boxes are designed on my cement blocks. And I was trying to figure it out. And I was going to have it where it's going to lift up into the wall and everything. And then I went out to Rodney Scott, and I just looked at him like, dude, I'm stealing that. And that's what I did. I came back, and I told the metal fabricator, dude, I found our solution. Here it is. Look at Rodney Scott's pits, South Carolina. So Rodney and I have a lot of similar things when we cook.
Okay.
Because we're both ember-based cookers. So Rodney builds a fire off in the side, and he feeds his boxes. Mm-hmm. Well, I do the same thing. But I also work off straight wood, but I'm also all about ember. Mm-hmm. So I burn green wood. You don't really have much flame. I'm going to move you down again so I can show you one of my fires.
Cool. Thank you so much. All
right.
Yeah.
So that's how I run fires. Can you see that?
Yeah, tilt it a little bit more. Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
So that's how I run fires, dude. It's literally ember. And what I do is I just put a log on it. So like right now it's time to refeed it.
Okay.
So I'm literally just going to put a log right on there, tighten everything up together, and that's just going to smolder and go down. I won't have any flame coming up off this at all.
Is that green, you said?
Oh, my wood is very green.
Okay.
So like when I say like green, it's not like the tree just fell down, but I'm ideally running wood that's only about 9 to 12 months old after fell.
Okay.
So I run a lot greener wood than most guys do down here in Texas. So I'll get a fire going, and then I just keep adding a log in on top of that fire to keep the ember base rolling. I'm not worried about flame at all. So like a lot of your Texas guys down here run those barrel propane pits and all that.
Those offset guys, yeah.
1,000 gallons, 500,
Yeah.
They run a lot drier of a wood because they're all worried about that flame making it all the way down to the end. It takes me 2 to 3 hours just to build up the ember base before I can even start cooking.
Wow.
So when I come in and start building my ember base, that's when I start resting all my meat onto the counter and all that.
But the fact that you're doing whole hog Thursday through Sunday, that's pretty remarkable for any place in Austin or Texas. Fegis is doing a little bit of that too now.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, and this is like also after speaking with Daniel Vaughn.
Yeah.
To the best of our knowledge, we are the first whole hog barbecue joint in Texas to do it on a regular basis. Please don't hold me to that. There may be someone out there in the sticks is doing it, but we don't know about this.
Yeah, but I don't know about it either.
So that's where we're at. And then like currently right now, I think in the nation, I want to say there's like 28 of us in the nation right now doing whole hog. And then that number could be off because it's becoming a little bit more popular now, and you're seeing a little bit more people throwing it out into the mix. But at the end of the day, where I come from, that's what barbecue is. It's whole hog.
Yeah.
And that's barbecue. And then everything else is backyard cooking.
Well, let's back it up a bit. You're from Tennessee?
Well, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Ben's coming in to join us.
That's nice. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
So I've been wanting to reach out to you guys for a long, long time. So I was just asking Chef about his background, that he was from Tennessee. And I'd like to know your background too, because I think people would be curious to know how you guys all got together. And I think I read a little bit about how you got the job from Daniel. I read that online.
Yeah, misconnections on Craigslist.
Yeah.
We happened to both see each other in the grocery store and like what we saw, and
put out an ad. Handsome redneck looking feller. Standing by the ice cream making it melt. I knew exactly who he was talking about.
That's the only way this works out. Yes.
No, So I'm originally from California. I came to Austin almost 20 years ago. Originally for college, and lived in Dallas for a little while. Went back home for a little bit, but came out for the first time in 2001. So Ted and I met. We did I put an ad up on Craigslist. It wasn't really misconnections. He might have been making ice cream melt in the grocery.
Was Rainy Street what it is now, or was it even what it was then? When you how did you know that this was the location you wanted in Rainy Street? Because Rainy Street is so unique to anyone else outside of Austin.
Yeah. So I would consider us to be kind of on the front end of the second wave of bars that opened on Rainy Street. So, we weren't by any means kind of pioneers of the street. It's funny, it's one block, but at the time, we were kind of mid-block, and it was insane that anyone would walk, 30 feet down,
Dude, it was dark.
Yeah.
It was dark. We wouldn't even open up on New Year's Eve the first 2 years. We didn't even open up on New Year's Eve because we thought we wouldn't do any business, so we had our employee parties because the street was so dark. The second year, we kicked ourselves in the ass because people started really coming down to Rainy Street that time.
And so the way we ended up actually locating here, my background was not in restaurants. It was in commercial real estate. It was as a commercial real estate agent, and it's sort of counterintuitive for guys that are opening restaurants, but if you're going out for a loan, if you don't own the real estate, there's nothing to collateralize against. So you actually have to raise a lot more money, even though the transaction size is technically smaller.
Okay.
And at the time, this is where there's a lot of luck involved in any of these stories, right? And then you just hope you got enough good sense and good people around you to really capitalize on the luck that you get. And so one of the ways we got lucky was everything was for sale on the street. And so more than anything, more than like foresight or being able to see or whatever, it was just man, we could put a real estate deal together here. I think being a first-time restaurateur, that not only made it easier to raise capital, because it's like, hey, look, if this fails, you can get in this way, but also I was able to get a loan, so I technically had to raise less money. And so yeah, man, that's kind of how we landed on Rainy Street.
How did you come up with the concept? Because this is before Chef came aboard. Like, did you know you wanted to? Did you think sausage and beer, or were you gonna do a beer place and then you needed food? Or?
Yeah, so the inception of the concept was really back in college, my college year. So I went to UT, as I said before. So that's when I first came to Austin, and there was a sausage cart on 6th Street called the Best Worst Sausage Cart. Been there forever, and man, I loved it. So I'd go out and kind of 2:00 in the morning would roll around, and you just catch me in line for a spicy Italian, and I had this thought in college of like, man, I can't believe there's not a brick and mortar restaurant that just does this, that just sells, it just focuses on sausage. And so that was kind of the seed of the idea. But I got a degree in finance, had a very kind of traditional path that I was on.
Okay.
And, ended up, taking the degree in finance and getting into commercial real estate and that whole thing. And, but sort of immediately wasn't happy with what I was doing. And so that age old thought about like, all right, well, what do I actually want to do with my life?
Yeah.
And then I had the idea would pop up, but I'd say that was ridiculous, and I'd push it down, and but it was always there, and it would always kind of percolate up, and then just kind of evolved over time. The only thing better than sausage is sausage with a beer.
Oh yeah.
And then you start putting it together, and it's like, hey, let's do 20 taps. The only thing better than 20 taps is 50, and the only thing better than 50 is 100. And then and ultimately the only thing better than 100 is 200. So,
exactly. Yeah. Were you outsourcing the sausage at the beginning?
So the original concept was actually to have about 10% of the sausages be made in-house.
Okay.
And then the other 90%, the idea was, man, there's all these cool artisan sausage makers all over the country. Let's bring their sausages in, tell their stories, and then just really tie the story to the food. And I thought people would really like it and all this and that. And so we opened with that, and all anybody wanted was the house-made sausage. So really, we were able to, that's one of the other things I think we did really well, was it's not that we were so smart, it's that we listened well,
yeah.
Right? And we tweaked the business kind of early and often.
That's great advice, actually. That's to be able to move.
And it's a hard line to toe, because you don't want to be schizophrenic, right? You got to have some backbone, but you also got to be able to recognize when it's not working. And so we made that pivot, maybe a month or two into kind of going exclusively house made. And
from the get-go, was it pretty popular? Like when I went, it was busy, but I was curious.
Yeah, we opened busy, man. So again, we relatively lucky in that regard. We I think from a timing perspective, it worked out in terms of like how Austin was positioned as a market and all the things going on Rainy Street, and yeah, I mean we opened busy and really kind of stayed busy. So we've been really lucky in that way.
And then how did you? And then you put in the Craigslist ad and you found your soulmate, and then how did it go?
It actually didn't go that well at first.
You pushed your weight a little bit, right?
You were more into me than I was into him.
Yeah, he never called me back, man.
It's always that way in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit easier to hire cooks back then than it is now. The market's really been saturated. Sure. And and so I assumed we would get a lot of attention from the ad, and I like to write, so it was sort of a snarky, funny ad, and I but I had some parameters on the back end. It's getting loud over here, so if you can't hear, just let me know. One of the rules I had was I wanted, because I had no restaurant experience and I wasn't living in Austin at the time, pavers installed on our patio out there.
Oh, is that what that is?
One of my parameters was the chef that came to work here had to be a working chef in Austin, because I wanted to be able to capitalize on the vendor relationships that they had.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
And so Ted had applied, and he wrote this really impassioned, long, I had like questions in the thing, and it was this whole process, and he went through the whole thing, but I was like, man, coming from Tennessee, like, and again, and we did get a lot of response to the ad, and so he ended up just showing up right after we had actually hired a different chef.
Okay.
And he came in, and we started talking, and we hit it off like we continued to, and he was like, look, man, I really love what it is you're trying to do, and whether I'm a customer or I come to work here, like I'm going to be a part of this thing. And so, the chef that I'd hired was a really young chef. And so I was like, hey, man, I think this guy could be really good. He's got a great resume. You can find a spot for him. And And the guy didn't, and then I, you know, and it just sort of occurred to me, like, you know, he said, hey, no problem. And I circled back a little bit later, and I'm like, hey, did you ever call that guy? And he was like, no. And I had a feeling that he was going to be intimidated because Ted's resume was so much more stout than the guy's was. And sure enough, we ended up hiring Ted to kind of head up the prep team at first. And about, I think, 2 months in, we ended up letting that chef go, and then Ted took over as the top dog at Bangers.
Were you just primarily making sausage at the time, or were you doing any other barbecue or smoked meats or curing anything?
So at the time we were doing, we did we do any smoked sausages on the menu when we first opened?
No, when I first ended up coming here to work, I was working here part-time, helping out to get the prep going, develop the in-house sausage recipes, but we were only making about 10% in-house.
Still, okay.
And we weren't doing any curing. We did have a fermented pickle and fermented cabbage being sauerkraut that they were making in-house. We just ended up, the fermented pickle, we didn't have the right environment for it, so we got rid of the fermented pickle, went to a vinegar pickle, and then, you know, as Ben and I started developing a relationship, it's like, dude, we're going to make everything in-house, so we started kicking over everything made in-house. Then brunch came, and it's like, dude, I know how to cure meat, I can cure bacon, I can cure this, cure that. Next thing you know, we started curing salmon in-house, started curing bacon in-house, and now we got a ham room. And
yeah, well, and it's beautiful. I've seen photos before, and then, of course, during that Lerma weekend, I saw even more, and it made me like, damn, like I was supposed to come, and I'm helping my mom with back surgery, so I couldn't come. But
that was epic.
That's crazy. And so now, how long have you been, so what made you guys think that we need to, because you guys were doing whole hog, or like animals with faces, anything with a face, you were doing that. How long was that before you actually said we need to pull the trigger and actually build this smokehouse?
Yeah, I mean, so that was an evolution. That was really just like a story of getting in trouble with the city, really. You know, so again, cooking pigs was something we did right off the bat. I mean, I know that we cooked our first pig while the first chef was still there. I mean, Ted cooked the pig. But it was he just wasn't the chef yet. So literally 1 month, 1 or 2, we cooked our first whole hog at Bangers, right? Okay. So it's always been a part of our identity. But like as I Ted got into earlier, it was always like you kind of do it in your backyard, right? Cinder block smokers and just kind of makeshift stuff. It was, we were never doing anything dangerous.
And it's traditional.
Just health codes are stringent, and so between the health department and the fire department, we just kind of kept getting in trouble. Kind of the first thing that happened was, I would say, I want to say like maybe 2015 or 2016, we finally bought a competition barbecue smoker. The fire department was like, we're done dealing with this.
Okay.
Got a competition barbecue smoker. So basically we're getting in trouble. So then we ended up, so I live about a mile from the restaurant. So where the Lerma's thing was at my house. That was in my backyard.
I was always wondering where that was. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's about East Austin, like a mile up the road.
Let me correct, that's our backyard.
Sorry, Ted's living there too. That's our backyard.
Now it makes sense.
So then, so we ended up having a legal smoking. No. So we bought the competition barbecue smoker, and then, but then the health department got angry with us. Fire department was cool. The health department was angry. So then we had to take the smoker over to our house. Then we were running our smoking operation from my house, bringing stuff over in the truck for the restaurant. It was a mess.
Ben, you're not the only person I've heard this at places in Los Angeles. There's lots of places that do this stuff.
So, and then a buddy of ours, actually the guy that built the pits right behind us, the backline, Ryan Newland with Backline Fabrication, he ended up coming out, and in like a day, something crazy, he built our first smokehouse, which is really just like a metal frame and screens around this gator pit that we got from used off of Craigslist.
He did the whole thing in 48 hours. Like, his boss didn't want to do the deal. They had to wait for his boss to go home. Him and his buddy slid into the shop overnight, banged out what they could at that shop, then took it to his house, completed it at his house, then showed up here and installed it overnight, working nonstop, and then the next day we were up and running out of it.
Wow. That's not there. That was that at your place?
That was in the restaurant. So
Okay.
then we finally had a smokehouse at like the city, that the fire department and the health department agreed was acceptable.
Okay.
Now meanwhile, we got plans that have been working with the city for about 3 years. So we bought, because in 2014, so we opened the restaurant in 2012. In 2014, we bought the third lot, the lot next door.
Okay.
And then it took us 3 years to finally get a permit to start construction. And then it was 1.5 years for construction before we got the smokehouse actually built.
Gotcha. Was that like an Asian place or something? Or was that, am I thinking, wasn't there some other, wasn't there something next door? Was that what it was? It was something next door to you guys? Or?
Literally a crack house.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was a crack house.
Not
Okay.
not like figuratively, like literally.
Yeah.
So
Crackheads.
Junkies.
Junkies.
This crackhead named Carlos, and then this homeless guy named Harold. So Carlos lived in the front, Harold lived in the back.
Right.
Like bonfires in their living room. We'd have like psychotic rages around the neighborhood.
It was very interesting.
It was wild, man.
It sounds extremely interesting. Okay, so then that was 2016 or
No, so we bought the lot. So that basically we tore the crack house down in February of 2014.
Okay.
Right. We bought it, and like the day after I closed, I tore the house down. And then we broke ground finally in February of 2017.
Yeah.
And then we got our certificate of occupancy in October of 18. Opened the bar in the new building in November of 18, and opened the smokehouse in December of 18.
No, we opened up our first day of barbecue business was 11/28.
11/28 for this.
So not December.
Yeah.
2 days.
It's not quite December, Ben. It was November. When you guys were coming up with the menu, did you guys know that you'd be doing whole hog 4 days a week? And did you guys, the bacon thing you were doing for a little while, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the smokehouse was an evolution as well, right? Actually doing a barbecue concept was kind of the third thing in line, right? So the first thing was, I guess the first two things was, we needed a way to prep for the restaurant legally,
yes.
Right? So that, because we wanted to smoke products in the restaurant. We were doing this event business, which they always wanted barbecue for the events, whether it was whole hog or Texas style barbecue.
Yeah.
We were doing briskets as well at the time for events. The events were huge, right? So we do 800 person, 1,000 person, 1,200 person events. And so we needed it for that. But then when we looked at it, we're like, man, we're going to have a lot of excess capacity. And so we're like, shit, man, let's do a barbecue concept out of it. And, so it was a trailer like right next to the smokehouse. But yeah, so so that was the evolution. And then we, Ted was, had traditionally always cooked Tennessee style pigs. Then we went on a Carolina, we went on a bar, like a whole hog barbecue road trip through the Carolinas.
How was that?
Awesome.
Epic.
Yeah, we've been on a few good deep road trips, and and then we really got to try that the Eastern North Carolina style pig, and and sort of specifically the the one that Sam Jones was doing. I'd say we took the most inspiration from. What we liked about that at the time was the increase in the yield by getting to use the skin. It's less cook time. There was a lot of benefits to it. Our intention was really to do, and I think our hope is to still try to get back to doing 2 different styles of pigs.
Really?
To do a Tennessee style on one and then a Carolina style on the other. But, we're still built, this is still very much brisket country. So I wish the demand was there to do 2 different style, 2 full pigs, a day.
True.
And I believe we'll get there. But, based on demand, we kind of had to pick one or the other, and so we started with that Eastern North Carolina style.
Wow.
Anything you want to add to that, Theodore?
No, it is closer to an Eastern North Carolina style, but it's actually its own style of pig. It's more of a banger style pig.
Texas style.
So we're like we did adopt a handful of techniques from Sam Jones and crew over at Skylight Inn and Sam Jones Barbecue with the crisping of the skin. But we run our pits a little bit slower than they run theirs, but we're still getting the same time frame.
When you say it's Texas style, what would be the Texas style? The faster cook?
Well, to call it Texas style is because we live here in Texas and we're doing it in Texas. We have taken a comment. I'm not from Texas, so like I've studied like all types of cuisine. We're closer to a Carolina style, but it's his own style of pig.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Please, with my name and pigs, don't put Texas style pig. I'm not doing a Texas style pig.
I'm not saying that. No.
So the pig style was born in California.
It was a California style.
We got California bacon. We got California pig.
What is the problem with you being the pioneer of Texas style?
Because I'm not a Texan. I'm a Southern boy.
Yeah,
and so,
but Tennessee pig exists.
So I'm going to tell you right now, no one in Texas taught me how to cook a pig. So I picked up any pig cooking tricks in Texas, other than trial and error of my own.
You're not using like a bunch of black pepper. You're not.
No, we don't use we use black pepper, but we're not real heavy base on the black pepper. And also a lot of the stuff that we do here is what's different than a lot of people do is everything that we do is pretty much cured.
Yeah.
Curing it somehow or another, whether it's a dry cure or a wet cure or a combination cure of being dry then in the wet, and then also our aging programs that we have. So that's kind of what separates us out from everybody else.
Can we discuss, because before we get off track, because I always get off track, can you describe what's your menu on 4 days or 3 days a week? Your menu is sausage, and do you have any other smoked meat items?
To be honest with you, our menu is sausage 13 shifts out of the week. Okay, 13 shifts. The only time it's not based around sausage is Sunday brunch, when we have a brunch menu that does have a handful of sausage offerings, but we based everything on that menu around cured product. We got cured belly that we braised. We have corned beef that's being cured and braised down. We have salmon that is being salt cured and then cut really thin, done on a pastrami style to be served with bagels. So we have a very large curing into our elements, and then we have the sausages go with it. But the barbecue business is its own business alongside next to 79. So we have multiple concepts. I'll let Ben kind of get into you about the concepts that are currently happening right now and where we're going to go. Ben, you're better explaining that.
Yeah, I mean,
so interesting.
Yeah, just so you understand, right? Like you basically, it's a compound, right? Like it's a real big place.
Yeah.
And so you've got, a lot of what we've done is created infrastructure that will capitalize on over the coming, let's just say 5 to 10 years, depending on how fast we want to move. And when it's all said and done, we'll have up to 5 different concepts all operating out of this, again, compound on Rainy Street.
Oh, really?
So currently you've got Bangers Sausage House and Beer Garden, which is the Sausage House and Beer Garden. And then you've got the Smokehouse at Bangers, which is this little brick and steel shack in the back of the beer garden.
Okay.
Right? And so, the menu at the Smokehouse is evolving right now. Kind of specifically right now, we're adding a bunch of sandwiches to it and sort of playing with the idea of that,
Okay.
It was much more kind of traditional Southern style barbecue kind of at its inception, and we still have all of those elements, but now just with like 3 additional sandwich options. And so we're just, like I said, we're playing with it to kind of see what works. But the main thing that we're holding on to is the whole hog barbecue.
And what are the sandwiches?
So we have 4 total. So
Okay.
we've got the whole hog sandwich. We do a kind of a simple smoked turkey sandwich. So we do the sweet tea brine smoked turkey. We do a BLT, and then we do a club, which is basically just the combination of the bacon and the turkey. And good, man.
You mentioned that we're curing all the bacon in-house. It's done on a 3% cure.
We're curing all the bacon in-house, and it's done on a 3% cure.
Is that when those round? What is that?
That's different. So that's bacon that we're selling by the pound. That's
Okay.
one style of bacon that we're doing. And that's I always get this wrong. What is that? The bourbon molasses?
That's a wet cure of bourbon and coffee.
Okay.
We cure that one in bourbon and coffee. We do that in a wet cure. And then we got a dry cure. We've got a couple of different dry cure ones we do. We have a 3%. That is our eaten bacon that we serve to customers to straight up eat. And then we got a 5% bacon, which is a cooking meat. So we also cure other cooking meats here. We cure and smoke our own ham hocks. And so everything done here is done in-house. We buy We literally do everything in-house. For the size restaurant that we are, it's unheard of.
It's unheard of.
We make our mustards. We buy out ketchup, but we make all of our own mustards. But we do buy ketchup in a box. But outside of that, man, it's all spice, salt, vinegars, and whatever.
Planning on doing with your concept a retail location, like a retail outlet, or do you sell anything via retail, or is it all restaurant based?
So as you see here, we got this beautiful rib that's coming out. So this is our 3-2-1 method that we do here. So this is one of our smaller ones that we're probably going to be able to start eating on right away.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I mean, so short answer is I'm not trying to make any decisions right now.
Gotcha.
What I'm real interested in is doing a really good job at whatever it is that we do. Yeah. And also, like, you know, for me, it's like,
watch out, buddy.
Life's for living right now, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, you get these guys that'll do everything at once. I'm going to open 10 restaurants this year at all. And it's like, man, first of all, how do you do a good job?
That's crazy.
Second of all, like, how do you enjoy that? You know, like, and so, you know, we're lucky with Bangers in that it's, you know, it's like, it's a great, stable business, right? And so it affords us the opportunity to move a little slower and a little bit more deliberately with some of the other decisions that we're making. I guess that's just sort of a long-winded way of saying, you know, once we get the smokehouse dialed in, we'll turn our attention to one of the other spaces that we have.
Gotcha.
And then figure out what we want to do and what the market wants at that time.
And they're not even a year in, so it's very new.
It's a 5 to 10 year rollout before whatever this wants to be on Rainy Street is what it is.
But if people come in, they say they want to get sausage and they want to get bacon to go. That's
you're asking specifically about retail. Yeah, you can buy all that to go.
I'm just thinking just because I love what you're doing, and I think I could see someone. Ideally, you want someone to come there and enjoy and be there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So we have the license to sell retail, and you do the math, right? We're such a large, like we do such a big volume, right? It's a small check average, but large volume. And so you're like, man, all these people coming in the restaurant, you know, we'll serve probably close to 500,000 people this year. And, you know, so you get a small fraction of those guys, you know, some small percentage of them is going to buy sausage to go, and that'll be a big number, right? Because any percentage of that number is still pretty big. It's almost like statistically impossible how little retail sausage that we sell. And so, but it makes sense when you think about it, right? Because, you know, you're selling it's this big, heavy meal that you're having here. You get to the end of it, and like you're full, right? Like you're probably full, and so your thought isn't like, oh man, let me get 10 pounds of that stuff.
Heck no.
It's like I'm on a diet tomorrow. I'm never again, you know.
And on top of that, we're on a street with zero parking, dude. Like,
so
you're literally walking here. You ain't parking here. You're walking here.
That's true.
A big chunk of our business is like we're their first stop before going out for the night.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of factors that play into it, and so where I think that we'll really have an opportunity to grow a sizable retail business is online. And you know, at least from a food perspective, we sell a lot of merch and apparel and whatnot. Having said that, if you want to come into Bangers and buy some sausage to go, you can do that.
Yeah, to go. And or just order too much.
Right. Yeah.
You have 20 sausages at any given time?
Yeah, I mean, it fluctuates, but right now I feel pretty strongly I don't want to dip below that 20 sausage mark. You know, we've had as many as 30. Yeah, I think
30 was our max. We had 30 when we had 3 breakfast sausages going at the same time. We didn't have 30 on one menu. We had 30 combined.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's called.
What are some of, just so people can know, what are some of the highlighted ones or ones that are the most popular?
Yeah, I mean, our number one seller, I think, since we've opened is the bratwurst. I call it the vanilla ice cream of sausages, right? You go to 31 flavors and everyone ends up ordering vanilla more than anything else. You know, so so we've got like a bunch of really good classics, right? So the bratwurst, we have a great currywurst on the menu. And then we've got some more fun, a little bit more exotic stuff. So we do a really good duck and bacon sausage that we put like a fig chutney on top of it. And we do a wild boar sausage where we smoke onions and garlic and put that in with the boar and stuff like that.
Are you finding people are pretty adventurous, or does that take like a second or third visit?
No, they absolutely are. It's like I said, I mean, most people want the vast majority of the people want the classics.
Yeah.
But we had a fried chicken sausage on the menu for a long time. That was a total pain in the ass to make, but it was honestly some of the best fried chicken you ever had. It was just
That's
awesome.
So interesting.
Yeah, what we do is we make a traditional chicken sausage. We grind it up like you would normal, but instead of putting it in a casing, we wrapped it in chicken skin and kind of closed it off with toothpicks, and then we bread it and then deep fry the whole thing. And serve it over mashed potatoes, and man, it was fucking good. But it sort of started to fall out of favor. People kept getting toothpicks. We had trouble getting the toothpicks out after we fried them. They'd kind of get hidden, and that created problems. So yeah, we've had some wild stuff. We had a really delicious. We did a shrimp. We did shrimp and grits, but it was a shrimp sausage.
Okay.
And that was awesome. We do vegan and vegetarian options as well. And
so those are you open 7 days a week? It is 7 days a week.
7 days a week, yeah.
What time do you guys open?
Depends on the day of the week. Monday through Saturday, we open up at 11 a.m. and then on Sundays we open up at 10 a.m. for brunch.
Okay, and you're open till how late? Because there's people that come in like for conventions, right? Like want to come in late.
Yeah. So we close Monday through Wednesday. We close at 11. Thursday through Saturday, we close at midnight, and then Sunday, we close at 10 p.m. I'm doing orientation today, and I was reading over the hours, and I'm like, man, we made this really freaking complicated.
People, they want to get the whole hog. It's Thursday through Sunday, right?
Whole hog Thursday through Sunday, and then the smokehouse is open right now, and I will preface this, if you're listening to it, to check our website, because, again, the smokehouse is a work in progress. But right now it's 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday, unless we sell out earlier than that.
Okay, I'll put hours, but I'll say tell people to check all the social media and check everything.
Because we just adjusted those, and we're working on it.
And if you want to rent you guys out, like how far in advance are people looking at, like, and especially during crazy times?
Yeah, it's we've got a lot of different spaces, so it kind of depends. One of the things we did with the expansion was really kind of create a modular event space. So theoretically, we could do 4 300-person parties simultaneously.
Okay.
I say theoretically because that'd be an operational nightmare, and I don't know that we could actually do that.
Yeah.
But we have done kind of 2 large private parties plus open for regular business at the same time. It's kind of as wild as we've gotten, and we did a pretty good job with that. To answer your question, I mean, if you're planning a big party, you want, we need at least 6 weeks, I think, is what we like optimally. But,
Are you already booked up for South by?
If you want to write us a check, give us a call.
Exactly. And South by, you should really early, right? Because that books up.
Yeah. So we're I don't know if we got anything for South by booked quite yet, but it's we're always working on it. So
are you having fun? Are you enjoying this?
Man, it's great. To be able to get up every day and do something that you love, and it's certainly not without its challenges, but I don't know really what is, and so it's it's been awesome. It's been really great. We work with some really wonderful people, and a lot of really passionate people, and I think we're really just afforded, like we talked about, like skill and luck earlier, right? And I think that we've gotten to a certain extent lucky in a bunch of ways, in that we have a concept that has really resonated with the people of Austin, and we've got an amazing facility that people like to hang out in and be a part of, and so I think that those aspects have really afforded us the opportunity to try to do something really great, and we've got a bunch of people that are really focused on being excellent, and so that's it's a cool thing to be a part of.
No, that's right, and I'm proud of you guys, and I'm excited. Like I'm happy to be able to watch this progression, because it's kind of amazing where you guys are now from where you first started.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was giving orientation today. It's one of the things I was talking about with the new kitchen manager that we hired. His name's also Ben. But I was just saying, man, it's cool whether you're a customer or an employee. One of the fun things about this place is it's this constant evolution, right? And whether you're watching us from afar like you've been, or you're here up close, you get to be the part of something, right? You're watching the growth, you're watching the change, and as a result of that, you've got this vested interest that's really hard to replicate, and there's not really that's going to be going on for a while.
Well, Chef, is there anything that you'd want to add that people should know about Bangers that maybe they wouldn't know? And a lot of people listen to this are in Texas, but there's a lot of people outside too that I'd love them to know, because when they visit, I want this to be a stop. I've always told people, but not everyone knows it's what you guys offer.
Yeah, if I was just gonna really want to say something for people to know about us, is that we are a made-from-scratch facility. That even though some people can mistake our size thinking that it's cut and go, and we have a lot of seats, and it is completely made here from scratch on a daily basis, and we put a lot of love and pride in our food. And I just really think that's a really important fact, because nowadays it's getting harder and harder to find made-in-scratch kitchens. And then on the level that we're operating on, it's really impossible to find it. But then to top it all off, we're doing true old school slow food, traditional ways. People don't take the time and effort, and I'm not insulting, but people just don't take the time and effort to do things. Our bacon's real bacon. This is the way that mankind would have done it before refrigeration. You can literally throw our bacon on the counter and it's going to sit there, and it's not going to happen anything to it until we decide to get cooked.
Exactly. Were you making bacon before you jumped on board with Bangers, or do you just have a passion for doing this kind of stuff?
No, I've just my whole life I've been making food. I literally decided at 11 years old I was going to be a chef, and this is all that I know. Throughout time, my career started off in fine dining, and mostly the Nashville market. I worked under some of the best chefs in Nashville, and ended up doing my own thing, and then moved down here to Texas and met up with Ben. And as Ben and I's relationship grew, Ben started realizing that I had all these different skill sets and different food that I could do. So we just kept adding pieces on, but we've always kept in brand, and our brand is slow food, doing old school traditions. One thing about it is something that we pride ourselves on, that Ben and I are both very proud of, is the prices of our menu items. We don't have an overly expensive menu. Yes, you can come here to Bangers and you can blow your paycheck if you want. We have so many beers on the wall that you can do that, but you can also be from down the street and want to go out on a date and only have $30 in your pocket, and you're going to come, you're going to get a beer, you're going to get a couple sausages, you're going to get an ice cream bar, you're going to be able to tip your server and walk out and not be completely...
That's nice to know. That's important.
So yeah, I find that to be very important. And then with that, we're able to deliver those kind of prices with the quality of made in house. And people are like, oh, sausages, it's all the lips, tips, assholes, dicks, whatever you want to talk about. And it's not, because for us here, it's we really go after the finest ingredients we can possibly get to put into our product. It's a lot of companies try to come up with how can we do this cheaper? How can we do this cheaper? Yeah. That's not a thought process of ours. It's how can we do this excellent every time? And that's what it comes down to. And excellence does come down to the selection of meat that we put into our product. The pigs that we're serving here, man, we're in bed with Compart right now. We've got a good company.
Yeah, that's crazy that you're doing that. That's crazy.
So we got an excellent pig coming in to do that with. Our sausage, dude, it's coming from muscle meat. It's not trim boxes coming out in combos and 1,000-pound combos that some of your larger sausage houses are using. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just saying,
but you're just stating it as it is.
It's an art form. It's the oldest, sexiest art form known to mankind is sausage. And meat is something that we've been doing ever since man discovered fire, dude. We've been curing meat to keep it for the next time, so we didn't have to go out and kill every day. And, and these are the techniques that we're doing here. And it's just awesome, because a lot of people come out here, sit down and eat, and they have no clue that it's taken weeks, months, years just to get that dish to them. All of our condiments, our pickles, dude, we jar them, we put them in the basement, we pull them up 2 weeks later when they're ready to go, and that's what we're serving our customers from. And
that's so killer, so killer. So are you fermenting a bunch of different items now? It seems like...
So we do have a fermentation program. We have asset plans in place. So we do sauerkraut. We're kicking out averagely about 200 pounds of sauerkraut a week to keep up with our menu items. Yeah. And then with that, right now, currently for one of our seasonal vegetables, we're fermenting green tomatoes, and we're doing fried fermented green tomatoes.
Oh,
But we ferment pepper sauces. We do multiple vinegar jars, hot jar, quick pickle, slow pickle. You name it, we're doing it. We ferment meat, we dry cure meat.
how much fun is this? How much fun are you having? You must be having a lot of fun.
I sometimes get to have a lot of fun, and sometimes I get to have a lot of work. One way or the other, it's a good time.
No, but it's something you're passionate about, which is nice. You get a chance to do that. Not many people do.
You have to be passionate about it if you want to do it.
True.
It's not just something that you wake up doing. I dedicated my life to this at about 11 years old. I knew I was going to be doing it, and by the time I was 18, 19 years old, my life has been dedicated to nothing but nature and food.
That is so killer. Well, thank you guys both for what you're doing. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate and the passion and the time that you're putting into this. This is extraordinary, and that is again why I wanted to talk to you guys, because what you're doing is completely unique to Austin, unique to Texas, unique to the United States. And is there anything else people need to know about? You said parking, so where would you park if you're going to park?
Parking, you can definitely put it out there in your podcast. If they just go to the other side of the interstate, dude, there's all the free parking that you want on the other side of the interstate. It's just a little bit of a walk away. They got plenty of scooters over there and whatever.
And that's a good thing. You eat a heavy meal, you get to walk it off.
That's important. Yeah, definitely.
And and you get to see a little bit more of the city.
Uh-huh.
But parking-wise, down here on the street, we do have parking. It's just we don't have parking, but there is parking lots on the street. There's a couple of different pay lots on either end of our street that they can go to.
Okay.
So.
And also too, do they? You said something about dessert. Do you guys have dessert?
We have the famous Snickers jar ice cream.
Snickers bar in a jar.
And so,
I think I heard about it.
we have yet to be attacked on that. And so,
don't put Snickers on the podcast.
Let's not get us in trouble on that. But you can go down. You can say it's a lot like a Snickers bar.
It's a
and
Snickers-esque.
Exactly. There you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I want to also thank you real quick just for taking an interest in us, and we really appreciate it. We're proud of what we're doing here, and we work real hard, and it's always fun when it gets noticed and recognized, and it's fun to show it to other people and share it with people. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Chef, and thanks St. Coron too for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Thanks a lot, dude. I really appreciate the opportunity, and like we said, you can come back, check anything out. We are an open book. We share all recipes. We walk anyone through our facility. Anyone shows an interest, wants to check it out. We're very proud of what we do. We have nothing to hide. We're very proud of what we do here.
Have a great week.
Hey, take care, bro.